Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jack. Another week of baseball, thus time for another episode of Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Jana and I are ready to talk more baseball like we do every week, specifically the Dodgers and the Angels, but we find stuff from around baseball to talk about, and lots to talk about, stuff that we forgot to remember and forgot again.
We do that a lot.
Mm-hmm. So we'll bring all that up. One thing to remember is where to find us on social media. Sibling Rivalry BB without the A on Twitter.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And of course, our website is siblingrivalrybb.com. And check out the Fanatics link, get yourself some cool gear. And, we haven't talked about a few things. We'll get to them as we get to the Dodgers and the Angels. We'll start off with the Dodgers this week. But first, we're what? This is our third episode of the season?
Yes.
And we have yet to say a farewell to a lifetime 200 hitter, but probably one of the biggest personalities baseball ever had, and that is Bob Uecker. Died in the off season while we were off, and so we just wanted to remember Bob as just a bit outside. I could made me watch Major League again just to watch him do that. And
yes.
Anyway.
Yeah. He was great. One of our favorites.
Indeed. And then, of course, just this week, we also celebrated Jackie Robinson Day, and for remembering Jackie and his contributions, not only to the game, but to the world.
Yes.
And now we can talk about his former team.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
All right. So on one side, the Dodgers still, their record's pretty good. They started off 8-0, and then, we talked last week about some things falling apart. But the top three teams in all of baseball record-wise are in the NL West.
That's correct.
Just the problem is the Dodgers aren't number one, which is where everybody thinks that they should be or would be. I think that the term invincible is what I think most people think of the Dodgers, that how could they not be undefeated at this point with what they have?
Well, yeah, they came in just barnstorming 8-0, and then they go on a road trip and it all goes away.
Well, they had an issue with the Phillies.
Yes.
Who's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went to the White House.
Right.
And then they started losing more.
Yeah.
Or they continued losing.
Or they continued losing. They did win the getaway game, so they had a nice flight home, I would expect, as they say. But the Dodgers fans, and I just think baseball in general, fans in general, they look at the Dodgers and you think, what is going on? They lost a series to Philadelphia. Okay, they're a good team, but then they lose a series to the Nationals, and but the Nationals played well against them. They had good pitching. So I think it's unfamiliar territory for Dodger fans, right? Especially,
every year.
Yeah.
You run into this unfamiliar territory.
Right.
Every year.
Oh, yeah. No, all teams are going to go on a losing streak, or they just don't look right, and things just aren't right. And that's where the Dodgers are right now. I mean, Mookie Betts said after the series at home against the Cubs, which we will talk about here in just a minute, if we panic, then people will say something. If we don't do anything, or, we don't say anything, people are going to be like, oh, they don't care. So it's like, what do we do? How? So it's like, just get out there and play ball.
That is the standard catch-22.
Yes. So, yeah, after 2 series losses on the road, the Dodgers come back to the Ravine, and they are facing the Chicago Cubs, and they beat the Cubs twice, on the international opening day series in Japan. But it looked like the Cubs were back with some unfinished business against the Dodgers, especially Michael Busch, who was a former Dodger. And every time he plays against the Dodgers, he does really well. He usually
it's that see what you're missing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's him. So first game out, Dodgers win 3-0. You're like, oh, they're at home. Maybe they're back on track. Yamamoto is on the mound. He has they get 2 hits off of him over 6 innings. He gives up a walk, 9 strikeouts. And the Cubs are scoreless. And then you've got Kirby Yates, a new addition to the Dodgers, Blake Trinan, and then Tanner Scott, also a new addition to the Dodger bullpen. They all hold the game. Tommy Edman comes in, breaks the scoreless tie with the 3-run homer, and that's it. That's the game. 3-0. And you're like, the Dodgers are back. Maybe. Really? I don't know. And then we go into a game that I don't know that we need to talk about, but we will talk about it. And this is a game.
Well, you can't cherry pick.
This is a game. We're going to talk about it. This is a game that was the worst home shutout in Dodger history.
In this, their 68th year in LA.
The Dodgers lose 16-0.
But for the first 6 innings, it was a fairly competitive game.
Yes.
It was 2-0.
And that's the
going
sad
into
part
the
about
bottom
this.
of the 6th.
And that's what's the sad part about this, is because Roki Sasaki is on the mound, and he gets the loss in this game, but his line isn't really bad. I mean, he had 5 innings pitched. He gave up 4 hits. He only gave up 1 run. So he left. He gave up a home run, but otherwise, he left the game in good shape. But one of the issues was Ben Brown was on the mound. And the Dodgers, I don't know, he kept them to
doing his Jesus Luzardo impersonation.
6 scoreless innings. And then the Cubs bullpen only allowed 1 hit and no runs.
Or his Mackenzie Gore impersonation, who pitched well against from the Nationals. So.
Yeah. So the Cubs hit 4 home runs in this game, in the rout, as we would say. But then it was after Sasaki left. It was Ben. What's his name?
Kasparias.
Thank you. I was like, that's not right. Kasparias.
Kasparias.
Yeah.
Kasparias.
Yeah. 1 2/3 innings pitched, but gives up 6 runs. in that 1 2/3 innings. And then you have Luis Garcia, who you're like, why is he still here? A third of an inning, we know why he's still here, and gives up 4 runs.
I believe that you asked the same thing to me of Michael Conforto.
Well, he was that game was very frustrating, and he was struck out like 3 times.
Yeah, but
I think everyone else
how many
did
times
too.
did Max Muncy strike out?
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm getting frustrated with Max Muncy too, because I feel like he either.
For the record, it was only once, but
no, I think he struck out 3. I'm pretty sure I saw
Max
3
Muncy
times.
only struck out once in that game.
Oh yeah, Max, but it seemed like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just adding them. All the players became
Conforto
one.
was only 2 times that he struck out.
Okay.
But I got it. But I was like telling you, he's not that bad.
He isn't. He really isn't. I think he just happened to be up.
He made up
when I think was texting you. So.
Right.
I think that was the issue.
Nasty text that I
get
especially when they're getting beat that badly.
Yes, I was.
Glad it wasn't the Angels that were beating him. And I just left it alone this time. Usually I'll say something to kind of poke the bear, but I left this one alone.
You did, yeah. And then, it's 11-0. You're not going to use any other pitchers from the bullpen. You already had 2 that came out and didn't help matters. So you bring in a position player. And they bring in Miguel Rojas, who brought levity to the game, because at that point, what do? You're not coming back. You're not going to win. And there's nothing you can do. A lot of Dodger Stadium, they were out of there trying to get, in their cars out of the stadium. But the people that were there, you could hear them laughing, because Miguel Rojas decided, hey, I have the stage. All eyes are on me. And I'm going to impersonate different pitchers from the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw, Landon Knack, Yoshi Yamamoto. I think he did Sasaki in there. And they were having a good time, because what else are you going to do with a 16-0 loss? There's just
apparently they don't care. Laughing when they're getting blown out like that.
Well,
there's no laughing when you're getting blown out like that. Didn't they see Brad Pitt in Moneyball? That's what losing sounds like. Not laughing.
I mean, I even got to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm still watching this game. And then Miguel Rojas got on the mound, and it's like, oh, okay, this is why I'm still watching this game. So I could see that. That was the best part of the game. Miguel Rojas, who pitched 2 innings, gave up 7 hits and 5 runs, did give up a home run, and I didn't write his name down to give him credit, but the Cubs player, I'll have to go back and look, got his first major league hit off of Miguel Rojas. And some people were like, maybe he would like a do-over. But you know what? He could be against any pitcher, because at that point, Miguel Rojas is a pitcher. Would it really matter who we got his first hit off of?
Would that be Gage Workman?
Yes, Gage Workman. He did it in a workman-like manner.
Got a double.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
Michael Busch got a double. Carson
Yep.
Kelly hit a home run. Of course, Carson Kelly's home run. Yeah, all of them off of Miggy Rowe.
Yeah. So
it wasn't a very good. It was a very good game for the Dodgers.
It was not. So now you go into Sunday.
Well, you know what I wonder?
Oh, yeah.
Not so much about that particular game, but just this losing streak, as it were. I mean, what did they do? They losing a few different series. They lost the series in Philadelphia. They lost the series in Washington. And then now they're playing the Cubs. So, but I wonder if they talk about championship hangover. They played essentially an extra month of baseball.
That's true.
And then they started about 2 weeks before everybody else did. So they had a short time in between. And this is the second year in a row that's happened.
Yeah.
But the year before they didn't win. They didn't make it out of the playoffs as deep into the playoffs as they did, obviously, last year. So I'm wondering if this, like the trip to Japan, the hangover from that, the hangover from the trip to Japan, if maybe it's just kind of catching up and they're all a little tired.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And they're not focused.
Mm-hmm.
We know Freddie Freeman had been out. He comes back at the beginning of this Cubs series when they come home, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I didn't realize it, but I did need these days off. I really appreciated having these days off.
Right.
And I wonder if there's a couple other guys might be there. And we're already too at a spot where the pitchers were already doing bullpen games and calling people up for spot starts.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole idea of building this team was so that you didn't have to do stuff like that.
Apparently, that is not the case, as we are seeing. Kind of gone back to the old habits of bullpen games. And yeah, I think that's a good point about just you play in, they played through Game 5, the World Series. They win the World Series, and you're on a high, and there's just this adrenaline, and then you get some downtime, but you do start earlier, a little bit earlier spring training. The Dodgers did, along with the Cubs, but with the Dodgers, because they were going to Japan. And I don't know how long it takes you to. Obviously, they should be over their jet lag by now from Japan.
Well, that part, but overall, and then in the off season, they're doing extra stuff that they wouldn't normally do because they're supporting they're showing up at a Lakers game with the trophy or some other event, a hockey game or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're all over the place. They're doing different appearances with the trophy or with, the World Series MVP stuff or whatever. And that takes out time that they wouldn't have normally had to do with had they not won. The Cubs didn't have to do all that. They didn't win anything. They didn't play in October, or they,
Yeah.
So they had an extra month off.
Yeah. I think, they started out, like I said, they were undefeated, 8-0. And yeah, it almost feels like, just when you look back at the series against Philadelphia, the series against Washington, and then this series with the Cubs, there is fatigue. There's something different. It's just, they're not quite right. And then also when you look at the Dodgers, and we talk about the bullpen, especially in that 16-0 game, and then you think, well, who's missing from the bullpen? Evan Phillips is missing because he's doing rehab assignment. Brusdar Graterol.
Yeah, there's pieces that are either working their way back or they're going to be out for the season or most of the season.
Right. Oh, Michael Kopech was the other one.
Right.
He's out, and they're all, working their way back for rehab. Clayton Kershaw started his rehab, but there's a lot of different pieces. There's also calls for Joe Kelly to be, bring Joe Kelly back, because why not? We need some help in the bullpen. Why not bring
Joe
him back?
Kelly back? Yeah.
Yeah. But
let's end up this.
look at this Sunday night game against the Dodgers, and it's on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. I was under the impression I have ESPN Plus that would be able to watch it. ESPN Plus is not ESPN, and if you want to watch the game from ESPN Plus, you have to have a cable provider. Well, I do not have a cable provider because we cut the cord. So I didn't get to
just splice the cord back together again. Jeez, it's not that hard. Get a new cord.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Anyway, so I wasn't able to watch this game, but I don't know that it mattered because the Dodgers lost 4-2, and Pete Crow. 3 straight series they have lost, and Pete Crow Armstrong, which when I first heard him say it, I think I said it last year, was Pico Armstrong. That's what it sounded like, Pico.
I just saw his mom on a Law and Order episode the other day.
Oh, really?
She was a killer.
Ooh, a killer.
She had set it up for like somebody to die. She was the bad. She's the one that they eventually worked a deal out with, and she went to jail. Jack McCoy got her. Was it, or I don't remember if it was Jack McCoy. No, it was Ben Stone got her.
Oh, Ben Stone. That's an early.
Yeah.
Early one. Okay. So he had an all-star type game. I mean, he goes 3 for 4, 2 home runs. And Tyler Glasnow's on the mound. He still doesn't look quite right to me. Pitched 6 innings and gave up 3 hits, 2 runs. Did have 7 strikeouts, but he gave up 2 home runs. So mechanically, I still think, and he has said, I'm still working on things, on his mechanics. But at some point, you got to figure it out. And how long have you been pitching? You don't know the mechanics. You know what? What is going on?
How many?
You forgot to pitch. How to pitch?
He's been pitching like 10 years.
Right. That's what I mean.
I mean beyond that, but he's been in the majors for 10 years.
Yeah. So wouldn't you have those mechanics down?
I mean, I get being off a little bit, but what are you working? Did you change something like huge?
And if you did, maybe you should not do
Go
that.
Back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, he was out at the September, right? Is when he last pitched, or maybe even August. So
until this season, he left in September.
So you would think, those basic mechanics. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe on his next start he'll have a better start, but we'll see. But in this game, Blake Trinan came in, Alex Vesia, and then Blake Trinan gave up a run. Alex Vesia gave up a run. Blake Trinan gave up a home run, which is very uncharacteristic of him. And then Jack Dreyer was the only pitcher not to give up a run. In this series, the Cubs held the Dodgers to 5 runs and a .200 batting average. And then the Dodgers hit, this just aside, 28 home runs in the first 14 games. And then their 9-game slump, Philadelphia, Washington, Chicago, a .218 batting average with 3.2 runs per game. So not looking good. Dodgers, especially when you look at the lineup, and a lot of people are like, oh, the 7 through 9 hitters, that bottom of the lineup aren't doing anything. But then you can also look at the top of the lineup and say, well, they're not doing anything either. So who's providing offense?
Well, that's the question. But most of the offense is coming from the top or within the first 5 or 6.
Right. Yeah.
Mostly Tommy Edman.
Yeah, Tommy Edman has been a great, good addition to the team. Glad he got an extension. Was really happy, when he joined the team. Wasn't quite knew, I'd seen him play, but what to expect from him when he joined. And yeah, glad he's a Dodger. But yeah, the Dodgers are just, out of sorts.
Well, maybe it's because in the offseason, the Dodgers traded away Gavin Lux.
It could be.
We hadn't talked about this.
We didn't.
And I'm beginning to think, because they traded him because they thought for sure that they were going to Hae-Sung Kim was going to be the starting second baseman.
Right.
And as of now, that hasn't happened. Miguel Rojas has played a lot of second base so far this season.
Yeah, Tommy Edman has
moving
been
back
in
to
there.
short again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it could be right now. Gavin Lux, is a Red, Cincinnati Red, and he's batting .273. Doesn't have any home runs, but he has 7 RBIs, 15 hits. So, I don't know. Is it the curse of Gavin Lux?
Could be. Never know.
What kind of voodoo did he leave?
Did he do on his way out?
On his way out
to his locker that has the voodoo.
Yeah, and who is in his? What would be his? Who has his locker now? And then
I don't know. That would be a good question.
And then what are their statistics?
Right. What are they doing? In that last game too, even though you were mad at him in the 16-0 game, Michael Conforto had 2 hits in that game.
Yeah.
And he and Will Smith both with a couple of hits, but it just wasn't much when they only had 6 or 7 total in the whole game. So
yeah, I don't know. I think maybe he was just my target because he was at bat, and I just watched him watching these pitches that were why didn't you hit? Why didn't you even attempt? And so he was just kind of my
right.
He was
I understand.
He was there at the time.
But the one big thing, like you've said, and I think a lot of people have all realized, is that with the exception of just that last part of the game where Kasperius just was very hittable, that game wasn't bad. The problem is the Dodgers, if the Dodgers been hitting, not to say that still wouldn't have happened, if they'd been hitting, maybe they wouldn't have got shut out and it wouldn't have looked as bad. Right. Who knows? But
yeah, you just never know.
That's the thing. And it's going to come around. Who cares?
I think they at this point
they would probably be, if they started out the way they did and they were going around, they'd still probably be in first place if it wasn't for the fact that the Giants are playing above their heads.
Yeah.
What's his name? Lee. I can't remember his first name. Jung Lee or whatever his name is, was out all last season, got injured early on and didn't play, has come on like fire. Here's why you signed me. And I'm sorry I didn't do it last year, so let me make up for it this year.
Right.
And then the Padres, which I want to mention something about them coming up here before we're done with this segment, but the Padres are on fire as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and they look like it doesn't seem to matter what's happening down there. It's a whole, so we'll talk about them in a second, but
yeah,
the Dodgers aren't out of anything.
No, and it's early in the season. I think, and again, that's what I'm saying. I know it happens every year. The Dodgers go through where they, lose this, they lose. And then of course everyone's like, what do we do? The Dodgers are falling apart. And again, I think it's just because they're so how can this be? We have Mookie Betts, we have Freddie Freeman, we have Shohei Ohtani. the unicorn of baseball. We have all these guys, and what is happening? What is going on? So it's early enough. It's April. I mean, I
if
think the
this
Dodgers can right the ship.
if this was August and they were in third place and not a great record because they keep falling apart, that would be one thing.
Right.
And of course, in the off season, it's the whole thing about all the money. So they traded Gavin Lux because they thought Hai-Song Kim, who they paid good money for, who's in AAA. They picked up, obviously, one of the first things they did, and we've talked about him a little bit, but they signed Blake Snell,
right,
who's already on the injured list. Tyler Glass now coming back, not pitching well. The questions are, and then of course we mentioned both Kirby Yates and
Tanner Scott.
Tanner Scott got signed towards the end of the offseason.
Right.
Re-signed Teo.
That was huge. That was a big deal.
Like you said, Tommy Edman got an extension. Who else is in the and then you've got these guys who are you've got a lot of guys who are on the 60-day injured list that are in various areas. So you mentioned Evan Phillips. He's actually been pitching in AAA for rehab assignments. Clayton Kershaw, who probably won't be back until June sometime, but he's starting to throw some games at AAA. There's more. You've got guys that are going to be out. You've got Tony Goslin, who's working on things. We don't know how long until he might be available again. Dustin May's in there, been pitching well so far, and he's going to pitch in this next series, which we'll talk about next week. And then, so there's a lot of things up in the air, and then there's just guys. It's the beginning of the season. Some guys, it takes a while to get hot and to get into a rhythm.
Well,
maybe
that could be it too. And then we are hearing too. I mean, there's been talk. I think we talked about this last week. Was on Andy Pages, who wasn't doing great at the plate and didn't look that great defensively, and has turned. It seems like he's turned things around. But there's still
at least at the plate.
At least at the plate, defensively. And there was a report that came out that said the Dodgers could be in talks to get Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox, and it said, the one I read said it looked like maybe for James Outman. Outman is in Oklahoma City, in the minors. So
and not playing well there either.
Not playing well.
So
right.
That makes him perfect for the White Sox.
Yeah.
They need another substandard player.
Yeah. Whether that happens or not, I have no idea. But yeah, there's just I think there's just a lot of moving parts, obviously, to every team. But when you have a team like the Dodgers coming off of the World Series win, and I think too, you mentioned, the going to Japan, then they come home and they have their World Series festivities and, get their rings, and you got Ice Cube out there and he's got the trophy, all this like celebration over the weekend, like 3 games. And then it's kind of like they weren't, they were in space. Now they are coming down to earth. But when they came down to earth, they landed with a big thud.
Yeah. So they very well will. I mean, they're going to come back around. Eventually, everybody's going to get in there. They're going to start doing the bottom of the order might hit, and he may and Doc may have to move people around to get that done.
Yeah.
All right. So Dodgers have the Rockies coming in, and locally, they said, you don't take medicine for one day, and the Rockies are here for a 3-day course of medicine to cure what ails the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Can they, or will the Rockies, do like they do? They get up for the bigger teams and play. I don't really think there's only a couple of like true major leaguers on that Rockies team. So who knows? They're hardly a AAA team.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, that's the sad thing is we
They'd
have
probably
the
lose to their AAA
they
team. I'm
they
kind of thinking.
probably would. They probably would. Yeah. Um, we'll see. I don't know you never know what you may get with the Rockies right now. It looks maybe like a good thing. Maybe that the Dodgers do need that dose and get back in sync, but who knows?
So listening to local radio, everybody's looking at everybody realizes that the Dodgers are the Dodgers and that there's not a lot of concern yet. But because expectations are always so high, it makes it harder when the team falls like they have.
Right.
So that led to, there's a guy here, Fred Rogan, who used to be the NBC Channel 4 sports guy for like 40 years.
Yeah, he's been around a
showed
while.
up in the 80s or whatever and did that. He's on 570, which is the Dodgers channel, and they talk a lot of Dodgers all the time. And he said he was watching Dodger game, and one of the games versus the Rockies. And he says, "Oh, okay, they're doing this. Dodgers are on cruise control or whatever." He's just, and he says, "I'm going to go see what's happening with the Padres Cubs game," because the Cubs left LA and went to San Diego. And he said it was night and day. The differences. San Diego, it's full. It's at the time he checked in, it was 1-1. And he goes, every game, you would have thought it was the World Series down there. The way the fans were engaged, the players were playing off of it. And he made a good point. He says it may not seem like it with the Dodgers, but they get amped up when the crowd's amped up too. They feed off of it.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter whether, I get it when you're losing 16-0 and you're kind of deflated and out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Dodgers had been winning 16-0, you can't just say, okay, we assume we're going to win like that and let it go. You need to bring more energy. That was the idea. This is what Fred Rogan was saying. We need more energy.
Mm-hmm.
It gets quiet sometimes at Dodger Stadium.
It does. Yeah.
Because either it's like, well, how come we're playing so badly?
Yeah.
Or we expected this. Mm-hmm. So if the Dodgers go out versus the Rockies and blow them out and win 20-0, it's going to be a quiet game because everybody there, they're going to cheer when something good happens, but they just expected that to happen.
Right.
It's like his thing was bring the intensity. And we've talked about this with the Padres, especially as it goes to with the Dodgers, but that they're not just doing it against the Dodgers. The Padres fans are hungry for something and they're there, and they have a more intimate ballpark than many other ballparks. Yes. They're all right there. They cheer like they're never going to see another game again, and that every game is an elimination game. And if you're playing in that kind of atmosphere every day, even the team that's got problems because they've got all that ownership drama.
Right. That's right.
That's going on, but their pitching has been on it. They've got guys. I mean, they've lost a couple of key players. They're still playing, and I think that while the Giants will probably peak and fade at some point,
mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the Padres will. I think the Padres have been there pretty steady for a few years now. And whatever's happening down there, you got to take seriously.
Yeah, no, I think so.
As
I mean,
good as the Dodgers are, as stacked as they are, all it's going to take is a team that is hungrier. And the Padres could be that team.
oh yeah, most definitely. I totally agree with that. I watching, what's going on in San Diego. Yeah, you can't discount like, oh, it's early in the season, they're going to fall off, because we know the Padres. We watched the Dodgers play the Padres enough to know that's not their MO. And when they do play the Dodgers coming up here in June, and the Dodgers will be playing, they have 3 games in San Diego, and then the next week, San Diego will be in LA for 4 games. It's going to be crazy in San Diego. It's going to be nuts.
Now, all we can do is hope. Remember, last season, the Padres were a little below average most of the beginning of the season.
Right.
And they still had their way with the Dodgers because they played in Korea versus the Dodgers.
Right.
But they had a hard time with almost everybody else. They could only beat the Dodgers, it seemed like.
Right.
By the end of the season, they were right there and almost eliminated the Dodgers in the playoffs. So,
yeah, no, and I think, and they've been, I think, going in last year, playing the Dodgers, and then it seems like that's been what's been going on the last few seasons in the postseason, and it's like it's our time, it's our turn. It's our turn kind of attitude, I would think that they have, just because of how things have played out between the Dodgers and the Padres. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. If the Dodgers can right the ship after this 3 series in a row that they lost. We'll talk about Colorado next week. They will be heading to, after this Colorado series, they're going to head to Arlington to the Grill to take on the Rangers for a weekend series, and then they will head up to Chicago for 2 games.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So, players of the week.
Real quick, before I forget, I want to mention Manny Mota, who he's a legend in the Dodgers organization. He spent 56 years with the Dodgers. He was a player. He was a coach. He's a broadcaster, and now he does community liaison. And he's 87 years old. Manny suffered a stroke on Monday. His son, Jose, who is a Dodger broadcaster, said that his dad is alert and doing well. So we want to send our best wishes to Manny Mota for a quick recovery.
I used to shop at the same Albertsons as Manny.
Oh, nice.
I was never there when he was there, but the people that worked there said, "Oh yeah, Manny was in." And one guy, every time he'd see me, "Oh, you missed him. He was here, earlier today." I was like, "You're just lying to me now, because
That's right."
But yeah, the same. We lived. I don't know where he lived in relation to me, but he was up in the same area, and could have shopped the same Albertsons.
Yeah. So
yeah,
best
speedy
wishes.
recovery for Manny. I remember watching him as a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
I think he was probably like 60 when he was pinch hitting. I mean,
he looks pretty good. All right, so now player of the week. I have player that we didn't know we needed him, but we needed him, and at that moment, and that's Miguel Rojas.
Nice. I'm going to go with another reliever, and I thought about Tommy Edman for a minute.
Me too.
But I'm going to go with Jack Dreyer.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
come in, pitched very well, and settled things down when somebody, other guys are having a hard time. He's come in there and been very consistent. So
Yes.
I'm going to go
Good
with Jack
pick.
Dreyer
I
this
like
week.
it.
Well, if you go south down to 5, you're not going to really see anything because the Angels haven't been home, except for 3 versus Cleveland, which we talked about that. But maybe this is better because they've been winning.
Yeah, they have been. So maybe on the road is better.
Well, we'll see if they can keep that going. They went to Tampa Bay, and I think we talked about that last week, them playing in at Steinbrenner Field.
We did, and I just found this out that because I was like, that's weird. They've got, they're on the road. They come back for 3 games, and then they're back on the road. This series versus Tampa Bay was originally scheduled to be played in Anaheim. But MLB wanted the Rays to play 19 of their first 22 games at home in an attempt to lessen the impact of summer storms because the ballpark they play at is open air ballpark. And we know from living on the East Coast that you get afternoon thunderstorms in June and July.
Even August.
And August, yeah. So just during the summer.
That makes sense. See, you knew at the beginning what's going on. Are they having an event there? No, but there was a reason.
There was a reason.
Very good. I hadn't seen that. Well, so the Angels had won 4 series in a row.
Well, and see, I was thinking about this. Whenever we have been in the past, we've been talking about, we talk about the Dodgers, we talk about the Angels, and it's always the opposite. And now the Angels are on top and the Dodgers are sinking. At least for now.
Right. So yeah, I don't think we talked about we didn't talk about the final game of the Tampa Bay series.
I don't think so. No.
No, we talked that they had done well. They had split going into the rubber match.
Right.
No, because we had talked about the Dodgers because they played earlier in the day, but we hadn't talked about the Angels. The Angels win the last game in a blowout, 11-1, 6 home runs in the game by 3 guys. Taylor Ward. Go ahead.
Mike Trout and Joe Adell, who becomes the 3rd player in Angels history to homer twice in the same inning.
Right. That was pretty cool that he did that. And really kind of absent from all of that offense was their big stick. This game, he didn't do anything. Kyron Paris was probably in awe watching those guys, unload as they took on and took out.
Well, but he had in the previous 2 games.
Right.
He hit home runs.
He looked good.
He was like, you know what? I'll let you guys take care of it this time.
You guys take get some of this recognition.
That's right.
Great start for Jose Soriano. Goes 7 2/3, only gives up 1 run on 5 hits, strikes out 4, walks 3, but gets away with all that. Only threw 93 pitches in that time frame. So good game there. And then Ryan Johnson came in and closed that one out. And that would be how they'd leave. So they beat the White Sox. They beat the Cardinals. They beat Cleveland. So that's 3 series. Now with the Rays, that's 4 series in a row to start the season.
Wow.
And they hadn't done that since 2018, I think is what I said last week.
Yes. Yeah.
So then they go to Houston. And we get to see Houston's City Connects.
Yeah.
This is weird. The City Connect things now they're just doing them whenever they want. There's not any big deal about them.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it last week how I was looking for when they were going to debut, and they were rolling them out, at specific times. And now it's just like, yeah, whenever. And this City Connect for the Astros, it's all right. I prefer their first attempt,
Rocket
their
City
first.
ones.
Yeah, I like that one. These aren't, they're, I guess, kind of futuristic with the lettering and things like that, but they're nothing to really,
Well,
be
the
excited about.
uniform itself is fine.
Yeah.
It just says Stros instead of Astros on it.
Mhm.
And that, so you're like, okay, that's not a big deal. But with the hat, they kind of look like Little League. And every time they show Tiny out in left field, because Altuve is now a left fielder, apparently.
Right, which we didn't mention that, but yes.
Well, we're saving it for the first.
Yeah, we wanted
game.
to save it. Yeah.
He really looks like, because he's very clean shaven right now.
Yes.
And he looks like a Little Leaguer, but those hats, they're blue in the back and a white front.
Mm-hmm.
And the A on it, it looks like it's like Arlington High School or Appleton High, and their A on there. I don't know. It just didn't look. It looks like a Little League hat.
Yeah.
And you know what? The way that the white and then the blue looks, it looks like they're all adjustable.
Oh yeah,
the way that they are on there. It's just something off about it.
Yeah. So I would say that City Connect is
what
a miss.
wasn't off about them was the way that they handled the Angels in Game 1. Now, like that game that we talked about with the Cubs and the Dodgers, for about the first 4.5 innings, it was a good game.
Yeah.
In fact, for the first 4.5 innings, the Angels had they were down 1-0. Then they picked up 2, and then. The wheels on the bus came off the bus.
Yeah.
And, they in what inning was that? That's the bottom of the 5th. The Angels put up 1 in the top, and then in the bottom of the 5th, it all fell apart. And Jack Kahanowitz, who went 4 2/3 innings, gives up a total of 6 of the 14 runs scored by Houston in this game.
Well, and it doesn't help that Yanir, is that how do you say his
Yanir,
name? Yeah. Yanir Diaz hit his first career grand slam, and that the floodgates were open, and that was the end of that for the Angels. I mean, Mike Trout did have a home run in this game, but that's about it.
He who was batting like 195 or something like that. Because, the Angels at one point were leading MLB in home runs. The Dodgers are behind them. Now I think the Yankees are up. Then it's the Dodgers, then the Angels. So the Angels are still in the top 3 with home runs. And Mike Trout's got like 6 home runs. He was leading baseball, and then it got tied up again. And now somebody's got 7, I think I heard. But he's just hitting home runs. He's not really hitting a lot of singles. He's not, the doubles, stuff like that. And that's part of the issues. And that's part of the problem the Dodgers are having. They're hitting home runs. They're not playing, a sound baseball game. And that's kind of what's going on here. Although in this first game, Kyron Paris does hit a double, as does Luis Rengifo and Nolan Schanuel, whose bat speed has increased, and he's actually been all right batting and up in the 280s. So we think, okay, one game. They played tough. They looked okay. Kahanowitz got beat up a little bit. He'd been, one of the better pitchers for the Angels. It's going to happen, right? So go out game 2, throw Tyler Anderson out there, and you're always wondering about Tyler Anderson because he doesn't throw very fast and he doesn't throw very hard. Well, that worked. because the Angels would pick up a win there to even up the series 1-1 with a 4-1 victory. Nolan Schanuel with his first home run of the season, Taylor Ward with number 4, and they, like I said, are able to take the second game from the Angels, and Tyler Anderson goes 5 2/3, only gives up 1 hit, strikes out 6. So decent game for them, and they show that they can hang tough.
Yeah, bounce back after
with the Asterix.
After a tough loss.
The Asterix, throwing Ryan Gusto. I don't really know much about Ryan, so it wasn't like they had to deal with Framber Valdez or somebody,
right?
Which normally seems to beat up on them.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into the rubber match. And the Angels, this is Sunday's game. The Angels start off with runs in both of the first 2 innings, and then they wouldn't score again until the 6th for 3. The problem this time was probably it's not that it was Kyle Hendricks who was the problem. It was a problem that it was Kyle Hendricks after Tyler Anderson. Both these guys throw slower. They throw more in the 80s, maybe low 90s. So while the Asterix had a hard time adjusting to Tyler Anderson, they were ready for Kyle Hendricks. And in the bottom of the second, they're able to put up 5 runs on Hendricks. 3 singles, a home run to Isaac Paredes. Gets all these guys on base, and they were just able to score 5 runs out of that, and that pretty much finished him off. The Asterix would go on to beat them 7-3. They'd score 2 more, 1 in each the 6th and the 7th. The other thing was Hayden Wesneski.
10 strikeouts.
He had a great game versus the Halos. What else was he going to do? And he and Hendricks pitched together in Chicago.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was it. I mean, that wrapped up them. They lose their first series, and that's the teams that they're going to have to beat if they want to stay at top of the AL West. They got to beat other AL West teams.
Yeah, definitely.
So they're going to, from Houston, they got a day off and started on Tuesday up in at the Grill in Arlington, and we'll see how they finish up with the Rangers before they finally get to come home for a proper homestand of not just 3 games, but they've got the Giants after that, and I don't remember who else is coming to town.
Pirates.
The Pirates.
Yeah, so they'll have the Giants for 3, the Pirates for 3, and then they'll be back out on the road. But yeah, they get to stay home for a little bit. And the
Pirates will get to see something they don't see when they play at home.
Fans,
yeah, because even if the Angels aren't playing well, which they are right now, or overall are, the Pirates get maybe 7,000-8,000 people. Them, the Marlins, the White Sox. It's like, and they've got Paul Scanes.
Well, and
Cruz O'Neill.
Right.
Or O'Neill Cruz. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
His name wrong.
I think I said we talked about this earlier. I mean, I know this is like our 3rd episode, but I know that we have talked about the Pirates have Paul Scanes. What are they building around him? Nothing.
Paul Scanes was an Angels fan growing up. Maybe he'll be an Angels pitcher in a couple of years.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do that. I heard him talking on the radio. He wants to bring He wants to bring playoff baseball to Pittsburgh. Can't do it by himself, but he'd like to do that. He said the fans are great, and and that's
Well,
what you
and
want.
I mean, then they just haven't been treated that well, with what the team, not getting, they're not spending anything. They are, taking down tributes to Roberto Clemente, and the fans are upset about that. Then they, take the bricks and they're like, oh, yeah, we just put those aside, and they weren't put aside. So, yeah, just all around not great for the Pirates front office and how they're treating the team and the fans. They deserve better than that.
I agree. Completely true. So they got that going on. Angels, we'll just have to watch and see. That's about all we can say about the Angels. Kind of wondering, what to expect from these guys, especially the pitching has been pretty decent so far. So we'll see, how it all shakes out. A couple things, and I know you'll get to it when we get to the wheel, but I got to talk about this now.
Okay.
Ben Joyce.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back on the IL, shoulder problems. And I still don't get, what is it. For a little bit last year, it seemed like they taught him how to pitch. And it seems like he's gone back to, let me just try to throw 105. And the Angels, well, that's kind of cool. That's a novelty. The Angels are even doing a bobblehead for Ben Joyce, celebrating his 105.5 mile an hour fastball. So if you're going to glorify it and then he's not throwing it, it's fine if he can throw it, but not every time. And then we'll talk later about this, but more third base injury problems coming up. But do you have a player of the week for the Halos?
So, this week, I know there's a lot of different guys I could have went with, and I went with this guy for a different reason. I went with Mike Trout. I know he's not, he's not hitting that great, but I went with Mike Trout because an incident happened in the second game in Houston, and it was very reminiscent of the game. Was it Game 4 of the World Series, where with Mookie Betts, and the guy takes the ball right out of his glove. It happened again in Houston, and it was probably, let's see, the fan said that he was protecting his son. The ball came, was hit, and Mike Trout, which would have been an awesome play. And the guy says, well, I was protecting my son. I didn't want him to get hurt. But then you see him with the ball in his hand, which he had just taken out of Mike Trout's glove. I'm not sure how that's protecting your son. His son was next to him with a glove on, also reaching for the ball. So it wasn't really protecting his son, because if you're protecting your son, you would protect your son and,
right,
hug them or, get them out of the way, shield them. And
it made it sound like he was a really little kid.
Yeah, he
wasn't that little.
No. But he, you would shield him. And then at the end, they're like, the umpire said, oh, it was out of play. The Angels could have challenged this play. They didn't. And it was like, seriously, come on. And then they didn't it's up to the ballpark. They didn't remove the fan and his son from the ballpark, but they relocated them. So, I don't know where they took him. And Mike Trout, this is why he's getting my player of the week, is a way better person than I am, because he goes.
Well, when I showed you that, your first response to me was, kick him out.
That's right. Kick him out. Yeah, because, it's like, I think, especially if you watch baseball long enough, you know the rules. And now Mike Trout said, if my glove is in the crowd, it's fair game. But
right, but
the
guy pulled the ball out of his glove.
Exactly. It wasn't. Yeah. And then I think too, maybe I have because of watching Jerks and Profar and his little antics against the Dodgers, where he acted like he didn't make the play, but he did make the play, and anyway, so but he took the ball out of Mike Trout's glove. Mike Trout, after the game, meets with the fan, and his son. Doesn't just meet with him, he gives them a signed baseball bat. Which I'm like, okay.
And a signed baseball.
That's right. So that's why he's my player of the week, because he's a much better person than I am.
Well, that was, I was surprised by that. I mean, he could have played it differently.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as egregious. I mean, the guy got it out of his glove, but it wasn't like the other two guys in New York that had Mookie's both of his arms.
Right.
And were opening the glove up and doing that. He got in there, and then he was like, but the thing that got me was the guy in Houston was like, oh, I didn't mean to do this kind of thing. It's like, no, you did mean to do it.
Yeah. You
but Mike Trout played it off, and they could have made a much bigger deal about it. And in that case, it didn't really matter because they ended up winning that game.
Right. I think that if they had lost
it and it had been played, but it was a bad call on the ump's part too.
I think so.
They should have called for their own review because it was in Mike Trout's glove.
It was.
Even if he's in there, I get what he said, but the guy pulled it out, grabbed hold of the glove and pulled the ball out of the glove. That's a no-no.
That is a no-no. And how are you?
Caught it without going out onto the field, and it didn't get to Mike Trout's glove, or he got it just as it was getting there, but it was already in his glove. It should have been an out.
It should have been an out, and that was poor umpiring. And again, if you go back and look, he was never in fear for his son. He never.
No.
You shield your son, you shield your kid. If there's something happening, you're going to reach for them and you're going to bring them to you, not try to get a baseball and then reach into the glove to get it out.
It's not like it's a foul ball coming at him like 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And of course, back in the days when there was no netting or like a bat, somebody lost their bat and it's going into the crowd.
Right.
This is a ball. He's making a play. It's in his glove. The son's not there. Mike Trout's not banging him in the head with the glove.
Right.
It's not the ball. If the ball's going to hit the kid in the face or something like that, and Mike Trout's nowhere near there, but Mike Trout had already got the ball, so his son was no longer in jeopardy anyway.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Well,
crazy.
My problem is that Mike Trout's batting under 200.
I know, and I did. I considered that, but I really felt,
and I can't. I'm not gonna.
But that he's not getting.
He wants to be back to MVP form.
Yes,
he needs to be batting in the high 200s.
Yeah,
well, he's not doing it.
He's not, and it's really disappointing because I feel like Mike Trout is an awesome ball player, but he really. I think he is, what is the word? He's become complacent as an Angel. And I think I don't know what kind of spark he needs, whatever. But I feel like he's complacent in what he's doing.
Kyron Paris has a 1.5 WAR so far this season. Trout has 0.2.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
No, I need more out of him.
Yeah. Well, no, and Angel fans deserve more out of him. I mean, he has been injured. He looks good. He looks lost weight, puts muscle on. He looks good. But where is the Mike Trout that we all know and love, hitting home runs? He's just not making plays. He's not there.
He's batting under 190. He has 16 strikeouts, so he's third out of the primary players in strikeouts. Logan O'Hoppe has 18 strikeouts, but he's batting 333. And my player of the week has 21 strikeouts, but he's batting 298. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen with this guy. I was hoping he'd be there, maybe get, hit some home runs. And he and Trout are close with the home runs. Actually, Trout has 6 to lead the team, and this guy has 4. That's Jorge Soler. And I gave him this because over the last few games versus both Tampa Bay and Houston, batted 318 for the 2 series, 2 home runs in there, 3 RBI, 7 total hits, including a double, 2 walks, all for a OPS of 1.036. And that's what we need from Trout. Not batting 186.
No, and the only reason he gets my player of the week is he was
because
just
of that.
That's it. Well, and I also kind of thought, because I was looking at my pick for the Dodgers, and I just kind of made it a theme.
You made it a theme? Okay. Yeah. So are we doing themes now?
At least for me this week. This week.
I want you to write a theme. What I want for Christmas. How about this? What I want for the 2025 baseball season. I want Mike Trout for the Angels to be the equivalent of the Red Ryder BB gun.
Yes.
All right. That's what I want, with the compass in the stock. I want him to be the fully outfitted Red Ryder BB gun. Time to hop in the bullpen cart and take a ride around baseball. And as always, we started off with the MLB Players of the Week.
All right. Players of the Week. We're going to head to the National League, and that would be William Contreras of the Milwaukee Brewers. He had a .391 batting average, a .423 on-base percentage, and an .870 slugging percentage. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs over the week to help the Brewers. And then in the American League, Ty France of the Minnesota Twins. .440 batting average, 500 on-base percentage, and an .815 slugging percentage, had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs over the week. And they are MLB's Players of the Week. So we've been talking about City Connects and how they've just kind of been debuted whenever, willy-nilly, nothing, no fanfare. And we talked about the Giants last week and that whole thing and how they very much, what did you say? They looked like the Pony League.
Yeah, the SF on the hats, like, is that the San Fernando Pony League team?
Right.
Uniforms?
Yeah. So the Rockies will debut their new City Connects, their second City Connects. They'll debut them tomorrow night against the Nationals at home, and then they're going to wear them every Friday home game. And they are so different from their first City Connects. The first City Connects, I think a lot of people really liked them. They were green. They went along with the Colorado license plate.
Right.
And they were popular. I liked them. I thought they were a nice design. They weren't anything flashy, but it suited the Rockies. This one, it's the skyline of Denver against the snow-capped Rocky Mountains with psychic purple, cobalt blue, razor pink, and laser orange.
It looks like My Little Pony or the little star bright things kind of threw up all over their uniforms.
Yeah. I totally agree with My Little Ponies. Because they could do a tie-in. They could totally do a tie-in with on Friday. They could wear their jerseys and everybody gets a My Little Pony coming through the gate.
There you go.
So like I said, it replaces the dark green Colorado license plate-based design. And the pattern in the material, the ripstop pattern in the fabric, is inspired by the material that's worn by skiers and snowboarders. And the colors are inspired by Colorado's iconic sunrises and sunsets from the Rocky Mountains. The interesting thing, you mentioned, the Pony League, and you had mentioned the hats in, Little League hats in Houston. These jerseys are pullover jerseys. And one of the things that they mentioned was this is going back to when these guys first played baseball. It's like the jerseys they wore when they were in Little League, when they were in high school, when they were,
But when I first played Little League, both of my first two jerseys were button jerseys.
Yeah, I know. I've seen those pictures.
And then when I played my third team, the Mechanics, was a zipper.
Ooh, that was cutting edge.
And then by my fourth team, that was when I finally got a pullover.
So
the V-neck.
So they're, they're interesting. So I mean, they're colorful. They're very different. And I did read they're like the guys in the front office in Colorado. Well, it's not everybody's taste, but they did keep the purple in, and purple is very much the Colorado Rockies. And I don't know that this design, people will wear these, but I don't know that this design will outsell their purple pinstripes, because that is their most popular item for the Rockies.
There was one that during the off season, somebody had submitted that was really looked good. And I think if they'd have gone with that, there were some similarities, but the ones that I saw before, they were just, I don't know, maybe they're just more professional. But what do we care? I guess all this stuff is about selling product.
That's it.
And I guess if you can get a bunch of 12-year-old girls to wear these jerseys, somebody said this looks like a softball uniforms.
Yeah.
Like that you would see girls softball league wearing those kind of colors. Whatever.
I mean, the colors, I mean, and they kind of do have, if you think back to the 80s when you see people skiing and they all had those type colors in their ski jackets and stuff like that.
Well, see, if we're accepting of that, how come we weren't accepting of San Diego's Pastel Nightmare? Because that was very indicative of 80s. If you went to the Shoreline Village and you went to the San Diego store, or you went to other places and you bought something that said, and the San Diego was in that, like that day glow kind of stuff, that was very much it. And maybe if they'd have been a little less pastel-y and more day glowy.
Yeah, no, I think if they were more day glow and they did have that 80s vibe, I would have liked it better. Now, I don't know that I really would have liked it any more than that. That's a lie. I didn't like them because they're the Padres wear them.
Right. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what it was.
I don't care.
The Padres didn't matter. They could have been the greatest City Connects ever.
I don't
The
care.
uniform to end all uniforms.
Yes.
And you would have hated them.
I would have hated him. I would have hated him. I hate him. No. But when I saw it's funny you bring that up because when I saw the Rockies, it did remind me of those San Diego, yeah, whatever,
So
ice cream, whatever.
Since you hadn't talked about Washington, are you going to talk about the Nationals?
I
City
am. I was
Connect?
just going to say,
Okay.
so I mentioned that last time or when the City Connects came out, they're like, okay, the Dodgers will debut in June, and then the Cubs they'll have their Wrigleyville City Connects. They'll come out in July or whatever. There was timed. It was very much timed. Now they just come out because they're like, this is your second time. If you can't get it right the second time, I don't know
But
what
when the
we're gonna do.
Dodgers released theirs, it was, the second one.
Yeah.
That one was more of and I almost feel like they did that because they had tied their first City Connect, which rightly so, to the area and having
Yes.
like the Los Dodgers, but they had tied it too much to Julio Urias.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, that went the way of the dodo. And
right,
so,
which we didn't mention.
or the dire wolf, really, maybe Urias will find his way back like the dire wolf.
I don't think
you heard about that, right?
The dire wolf?
Yes, has been extinct for thousands of years.
Uh-huh.
And they found DNA and have replicated the dire wolf.
Wow. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a dire wolf.
Yes.
Now I know.
Yeah.
I don't think that Julio Urias will be replicated or coming back or anything like that. We found out that he was suspended. So
right. Finally got an answer.
We finally got an answer on that one, which I think we all knew. But the Nationals. So the Nationals had their City Connect, and it was their first one, and it was like kind of like a grayish color, and it had the cherry blossoms on it. Very iconic. Cherry trees in Washington, D.C. People flock to D.C. to see the cherry trees in bloom. They're beautiful. If you haven't seen them, it's, they're great. You can also go to Japan to see the same thing, but it's a little cheaper to go to DC. But this time around, the Nationals debuted their City Connect, their second one, on March 29th. And I'm like, okay, but I wasn't anywhere near any place to know that they debuted their City Connect jersey. But it pays homage to their place in DC. The Capitol Dome is on the cap and on the jersey. And even though there were a lot of people who liked the cherry blossoms on that first one, there were a lot of people like, this is a cherry blossom. That's it. That's all you have is cherry blossoms. That's your City Connect.
The nation's capital, and all you have
is cherry blossoms.
Or some flowers.
That's it. And so a lot of people did not like them. They were not highly regarded. But guess what? Cherry blossoms make a return to the City Connect with blossoms that are on both sides of the Walgreens W. I mean, the Washington W. So looking at these City Connects, I guess other than the Rockies, that is a big departure from their first City Connect. They're not really anything, spectacular or really like, oh, I'm going to go out and buy that jersey.
Some people were even saying they might as well have just stayed with the old ones.
Yeah,
those were better than these.
Yeah.
I don't know. They do seem kind of just in that blue, or that kind of slate kind of.
Yeah, it's supposed to be denim blue, so I don't know if that's the denim
really
jeans.
Stand out.
It's the fabric of America. It's the capital.
Well, it is, I guess, but they don't make them there. When I think jeans, I would think that the Rockies could wear something with a denim feel to it. That sounds more like it, or the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
would be better. They could wear vest
They
and
could-
jeans and
they
then
could.
cleats that look like boots.
That would be awesome. I was gonna say they could have spurs, but that might be a problem.
And then bolo.
Bolo ties, yeah, that would be so awesome. And could they have their hats be cowboy hats?
Right. They'd be like Texas Rangers, like
Yeah.
real Texas Rangers.
Real Texas Rangers. So cool.
I mean, there's better options. Once again, nobody's going to call us. We're just
No,
gonna
they
sit
never
here.
do. We have great ideas.
Great. Nobody's listening. We're like the guy in I'm 26 years old and I'm stuck in the flow.
That's right. And I got to get out of the flow.
Got to get out. So, wow, 2 Christmas movies in this episode alone.
Yes.
And we're only in April.
Only in April.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you this. A lot of these uniforms, if I played, I would almost feel like I'd have to go Anthony Rendon and find my way to the wheel. Oh, I am. Hell. So I wouldn't have to wear those same things.
So this first one I have to mention, he's on the, we don't have a AAA or minor league will, but I guess we do now. This guy is the first one. The Twins, Jose Miranda, has not been doing great. They optioned him.
Miranda.
They optioned him to AAA St. Paul, but he is on the injured list, and they're not sure when he will return because he strained his left hand while trying to handle a case of bottled water. So he was carrying the bottled water, and then he lost his grip, and then as the case of bottled water started to fall, he went to grab it and he strained his left hand. So
Okay.
that's the most.
At least that's the story that they're
That's
sticking to.
the story.
As Colin Ray once said, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's right. Ronald Acuna Jr., good news for Braves fan. He's still on the IL, but he has been cleared for baseball activities, and he will start working towards a rehab assignment.
Scratching and spitting.
So that's where they start, the baseball activities, and then they move on from there. Marcell Ozuna is day to day. Hasn't quite. He's in our SRBB clinic, but hasn't hopped on the wheel yet. We'll see. He's day to day with hip inflammation. Cubs, Justin Steele is in our surgery wing because he is out for the season to repair his flexor tendon and address UCL damage in his left elbow. Tigers Tigers Manuel Margot is on the 10-day IL with patellar tendon strain. So knee strain. That's just a fun way to say it. Jake Cronenworth.
Patellar sounds more fun than knee.
Yeah. Oh, I hit my patellar. Jake Cronenworth was day-to-day last week. He's now cemented himself on the wheel for a little while because he has a non-displaced fracture of the rib. Ben Joyce, as you mentioned, is on the IL with a shoulder injury, shoulder inflammation, shoulder. And we know why. It's because he just throws however the heck he wants and thinks that, it needs to have flames. The ball needs to have flames coming off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saved this one for last. Chris Bryant still plays baseball, not very often. He's kind of become an Anthony Rendon of the Rockies. He has been on the IL and out for, where he had, and it's always been his back. and he is on the 10-day IL, but sounds bad. And this is not something that you can just rehab and you come back from. Chris Bryant has been diagnosed with lumbar degenerative disc disease.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that sounds like something that Anthony Rendon would want.
Yeah, he was like, dang it, why didn't I think of that?
Yep.
But that's what he has, and he's been out for since he signed with back injury, and now they're hoping for a quick return, but when you have a lumbar degenerative disc disease, I don't. So it's a lower back injury associated with the wear and tear of the spine. He's had 2 separate stints on the IL last season, and then he missed nearly 2 months with back issues in 2022, and that's when he signed his contract. So this is his 9th time on the IL since signing a 7-year, $182 million contract. So Bud Black says he was put on the IL as a precautionary measure. He's expected to return at the end of 10 days, but they're going to have to do something to see if he can play. And then what will they do? I mean, he's through 11 games. I mean, he's hitting 154. He doesn't have any home runs. He's had 10 starts as a DH, and he's just not really doing anything. And he hasn't played in more than 80 games in a single season since he went over to the Rockies. He signed with the Rockies. So,
Yoan Moncada.
Oh yeah.
Who one of the issues was he's played fairly well when he's played, but he's out with a right thumb sprain, and that was an issue and a worry that people had when he was signed, that he was like Anthony Rendon Jr. or Anthony Rendon Light.
Yeah.
And so now we got to watch and see, is this going to be a constant thing? He was playing. He's played fairly well, at least defensively. I haven't looked at his, where he's been batting wise. But, he's had his moments, but that was, here he is. Boom. He's on the IL, and it's like, come on. What's going to happen now? Rengifo moves over to third, and it may not even seem like we're missing him, but on the season so far, he's only batting 190, but defensively he's been pretty good. So I just don't know what once again, it's just third base thing. Maybe they should have went and traded for Arenado.
Yeah. Well, one of the things Arenado came out and said, we finally found out why he said no to the Astros. And he said it was because he didn't have confidence in the team when they traded Kyle Tucker to the Cubs.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, why would you let him go? He's really the best player.
Yeah.
All around player.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the second best bat next to like Moncada, not Moncada, but what's his name? Alvarez.
Right.
And even, Altuve's bat is still good. So as much as I hate him,
yeah,
it's still there. So I don't know what to say, but yeah. So
yeah. Thinking of a World of Baseball Classic 2026, Mark DeRosa will be the manager for that team, and Aaron Judge will be team captain.
Wasn't he? DeRosa was the manager last time too, wasn't he?
Yeah. Dino Ebel will be back as one of the coaches as well. I haven't heard about anybody else, but I did see Dino said he was excited.
Andy Pettit is going to be the pitching coach. And I have to look. I saw a list, World Baseball Classic list, and I can't remember where I saw that.
Now, you sent me something really funny. There was a tweet that went out and a post, and it said, that Aaron Judge will be the team captain for Team USA. Somebody responded to that and said, "What about Ohtani?"
They said, yeah, it was like, it says a lot in the whole
Yes.
debate about Judge and Ohtani. Why was Judge named the USA team captain instead of Ohtani?
Well, duh. Because Ohtani will probably be the team captain for Japan.
Right.
And you wonder, you're like, is that guy serious? And then you think, yeah, pretty sure. I'm pretty
Most
sure.
people thought he was serious. There was a couple of people, oh, it's a joke. It's like, I think you're just trying to make it like it's a joke, but who knows? We don't know. People actually think like that. So
well, right. And you make it as a joke, but then people don't know. They don't know you. Maybe your friends know, oh yeah, that's funny.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was
funny.
But
the question is, was it funny because he's an idiot?
Yeah.
Or is it funny because he was being funny?
Right.
Either way, you could take it either way. It was funny either way. Hey, here's the coaching staff. So let's think about this too. The Dodgers 2 years in a row are in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
And then next year, they're not going to go anywhere, but certain players will be playing in the World Baseball Classic.
Right.
And the question's going to be, the pitchers is always the question, because most of the pitchers, they're going to have to start earlier because they're not usually ready to pitch. They're not, stretched out enough at that time. So we'll see how that plays. But the beginning of next year, again, there's something else.
Yes, there's
so
always.
You mentioned Mark DeRosa is the manager, and Aaron Judge. The bench coach is going to be Skip Schumacher.
Yeah.
Andy Pettit is the pitching coach. Hitting coach Matt Holliday.
Mm-hmm.
First base coach is going to be George Lombard. And where's Lombard from? He's a first base coach somebody, and I don't remember who.
Well, it used to be for the Dodgers for a long time, and then he left, which was sad. But I think I want to say he's in Detroit.
That sounds about right. Yeah, he left, and then
he's
and then
in Detroit.
McCullough was there, and he's down in Miami now.
Miami,
And then third base coach from the Dodgers, Dino Ebel, former Chicago Cubs manager, bullpen coach David Ross, and assistant managers will be Freddie Gonzalez, Brian McCann, and Young. Michael Young, former Texas Ranger. He was a good hitter. Won a batting titles that I can remember. Brian Can, a catcher. And he's a pretty sharp guy. Brian McCann is. I've heard him on MLB radio a few times, and them talking about the game. He's definitely a student of the game. Of course, we won't know anything about players until much later.
Right, and then we'll see. Will Freddie play for Canada, or will he play for the U.S.?
I think Freddie plays for Canada.
I think he will continue with Canada as well.
Yeah, because his mom Canadian.
Yeah.
So we'll see who else plays, because we saw like Ian Kinsler, who will be I think he's going to be the manager of Israel again. And who's playing where? We'll see. Yeah. Will the Fletcher brothers play for Italy again?
All right.
Like they did before. So
yeah. Dodger Stadium, this is no surprise, but just put this on your radar so you can watch it in the 2028 Olympics. Baseball will make its return to the 2028 Olympics, which will be held in Los Angeles. And of course, Chavez Ravine will be the venue for baseball. So Dodger Stadium will be hosting that.
And if you're interested in softball, it'll be in Oklahoma City.
Always.
Not in LA.
Not in LA. It'll be in Oklahoma City.
So.
Is it like softball capital of the world by this
point? I think
point?
it is. I mean, because you've got the museum there. Of course, Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma is just down the street a little bit, and they've won 27 titles in a row or something like that.
Crazy. Yeah. Crazy. I think we're getting closer. I know it's April, but we are getting closer to Omaha. And we mentioned it last week, but I think next week we should talk about and see where those NCAA Division I teams are. Who's on top? Is it the SEC? Big 12? Who's everywhere? I don't know. I've watched a little bit kind of here and there of some college ball when I've been able to catch it. So we'll see. I mean, Tennessee has been doing well. So
I was watching, or I flipped over to watch Kentucky, and I don't remember who, but Kentucky was losing like 6-0. And I said, let me see what else is on. Because I didn't want to watch my team already getting beat.
Yeah.
Like that. But, I could have stayed because who knows? In college balls,
it changes.
Things like that can change quickly.
Super fast. I guess, you know what? We're here. We can talk a little bit more about it next week, but I will just tell you because I was curious. Texas is currently number 1 with Arkansas, Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia at 5. What do those guys all have in common?
SEC are all involved in those letters are all somehow connected to them.
Somehow, Clemson is Clemson SEC?
No,
or they're
ACC.
the only one because Tennessee, Georgia, Arkansas, and then Texas. So yeah, so only Clemson, the Taggers, as Dad would say. You got Oregon State at 6, Florida State at 7, Auburn at 8, LSU at 9, and this is a surprise because we've talked about this in the past. It used to always be those California teams, UCLA, USC, Fullerton was always huge, and we haven't seen them, but UCLA is number 10.
Oh, nice.
So we'll talk a little bit
making their way back.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about NCAA next week. See where those guys are. Because that's one of our favorite times of the year is Omaha, and it's getting closer.
And that'll put a wrap on this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast. We'll be back next week to talk about all the stuff we just said we were going to talk about. Unless, of course, we forget to remember.
But if you listen, then you'll know. Oh, wait, they said they were going to talk about that. And then we just we pull you in. So we're going to talk about that next week. You got to listen.
We pull you in and drag you along.
That's right.
All right. One thing that we do want you to remember for sure is that we are on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And you can find us on our website, siblingrivalrybb.com. Check out the Fanatics link and get yourself some great gear, whether it be Major League Baseball, whether it be, NBA playoffs have started, so you can get your favorite NBA gear. You can get your favorite college team gear. The hockey playoffs are going to be starting soon, so you can get your favorite. The Kings, the Los Angeles Kings are going to be in the playoffs, playing the Edmonton Oilers. So that's a rivalry matchup right there. Both former homes of the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So you can get all that off of Fanatics, all the gear you need. Until next week, go out and see some live baseball. I just went to my first game, saw a minor league game, saw the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, the LA Low A team, beat the San Jose Giants. You can figure out who they're connected to in walk-off fashion. Walk-off single brought home the Ghost Runner in Zinnings.
Even better.
So until next week, don't forget to swing away.